I'm Kenny Russian, and I want to congratulate you for taking massive action by opting into my 10 easy steps to get started wholesaling houses in your city. Now this video series was designed to show you step by step exactly how to get started wholesaling houses in your city within the next 30 days. And no, you don't need to use any of your own personal cash or credit. Now let's go ahead and get started learning how to wholesale properties so I can help you guys move one step forward to making some cash.
Lesson number 1, finding distressed neighborhoods and homes.
Okay, this is lesson number 1. What we want to do is we want to go out and find a distressed neighborhood, such as the one that we're in right now, so that you can find distressed properties. And then what I want you to do is find out the address of the property. In this case, this address is 345 Curtis, and we want to do the research to hunt down the property owner. I have a system that I'm going to share with you exactly how to do it. And again, this is complimentary. I'm not charging you guys any money. I just want to see you guys win and make some money. First thing is identify a distressed neighborhood. Go out there. Typically in 1 hour you can find about 50 properties or more. And then I want you guys to write down those addresses so then I can tell you exactly what you need to do with the addresses, so we can hunt down the property owner, try to find out the property for sale so that you can enter into a contract and assign a contract to a cash buyer such as myself and other people in your community. Alright, this is lesson number 1, you guys. I want you guys to go out and do it now.
Lesson number 2, how to research property owners.
Congratulations for successfully completing lesson number 1. Now we're going to move on to lesson number 2. Now that you have at least 50 property addresses, we want to find out who owns these properties. The best thing to do is to log on to your local property tax assessor's office. In this case, is considered the Hillsborough County Property Appraisers. You may even have to go down to the local courthouse in order to gather the database of property records and the owners of these properties. In this case, I'm logging on to Hillsborough County Property Appraisers. Here's a property of a distressed home that I found, and it's going to identify exactly who owns the property. Here's the guy who owns the property, and this is his address. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Trustee Jackson, that's the site address of the property I looked at. Now we want to send him a postcard, a direct letter, indicating that we are interested in buying the property, or you can log into White Pages to find out his phone number to call him, our directory assistant. Do it now.
Lesson number 3, how to send out letters and postcards to potential sellers.
Congratulations on successfully completing lesson number 1 and 2. Now we're going to move on to lesson 3, how to get in contact with the property owner. So once you're able to do the research to find out who owns a property and you have an address, you can now use click to mail. Now this is just one option. The first would be just to write a letter, put an envelope, put a stamp on it and drop it in the mailbox. But if you're going to send out letters or postcards in bulk, you're going to want to know about Click to Mail. This is an invaluable website that you can use in order to be able to send out your letters or postcards. You can upload those addresses to Click to Mail and you can send them out. Now, you can customize your postcards by using the graphic designer to create a postcard for you and upload it to Click to Mail so you can send out, or you can use their letters as well. You would have to write the letter yourself and then they'll send it out for you. Invaluable site so that you can reach property owners to tell them that you're looking to buy their house. Do it now.
Lesson number 4, how to perform the market comparable valuations.
Congratulations for successfully completing lesson number 3. We're going to move on to now lesson number 4. In this lesson, we're going to do our analytics on the properties that we're interested in buying. I use a service called RealQuest. You can also go to Zillow and use their site. Sometimes it's not as accurate as using RealQuest. You can also, if you have access to the multiple listing service, if you're a realtor, you can also access that database in order to do what is called market comparables. Here's a property that I found, 3618 Sarah Street, Tampa, Florida. I purchased the property for $80,000, and now here are the comps on the property. The comps range from 85, 130, 195, 151. We want to make sure that the value is there before we contract to buy the property. The best way to make sure that the value is there is to do your comps. Because remember, you make money on the buy, not the sell. Do it now.
Lesson number 5, contracting to buy a home from a seller.
Congratulations on successfully completing lesson number 4. We're going to move on to lesson number 5. This is the buy contract that I use when I'm buying properties directly from private sellers. So you're going to use this with the seller. My contracts are very simple. They're only 2 pages, and I keep them simple because whenever you make a contract very comprehensive and lengthy with a lot of fine print, it discourages the seller from wanting to execute to sign off on this contract. So I keep it very simple so a 5th grader could actually understand this contract. What you're going to notice is that whenever I'm buying a property, I use a $100 deposit. Payable in cash, of which the deposit $100. So when you hear people talk about how to get started with no cash or credit, this is the technique that they're using. They're going to provide a deposit of $100, and then you're going to assign this contract to a cash buyer, and you're going to be able to make an assignment of contract fee. We're going to learn about that later on in these lessons. So do it now.
Lesson number 6, how to find cash buyers.
Congratulations on successfully completing lesson number 5. We're going to move on to lesson number 6. Half the work has been done already. We need to now find cash buyers. And I'm going to share with you different strategies of finding cash buyers that are willing, ready to buy your properties. The first one is to attend real estate association meetings like this one that my friend has in Sarasota or Tampa, Florida. You would do the research on the people who have these events in your city. You can also go to Craigslist to find cash buyers, to call all these people right here and tell them that you have houses for sale. You can also Google search it, which is very simple. Google search cash buyers in your city. It would be We Buy Ugly Houses in Baltimore or Miami or wherever you live. You can also go onto my friend Clint Clother's site, Find Cash Buyers Now. It's a subscription site, but they have an awesome database of cash buyers. You can also call all those bandit signs in your area. Do it now.
Lesson number 7. Should I use a marketing fee contract or an assignment of contract?
Congratulations for successfully completing lesson number 6. Let's move on to lesson number 7. Now we're going to identify the difference between a marketing consulting fee agreement and an assignment of contract.
We do have the buy contract here for a reason. If you go out and find a property as a bird dog, and you're looking to just get paid a fee, you're going to use this agreement, the marketing consulting fee agreement, and this is going to be with the cash buyer. You go out there and find a house, you don't put it under contract using this contract. You just tell him, hey, I got this house 123 Jackson Street. You're going to want to make sure that you execute this contract by signing it, and he signs the contract to make sure that you get paid at the closing table. So again, you only use this agreement if you go out there and find a piece of property and you tell somebody about it, but you want to make sure that you put something in writing to make sure you get paid. You would use what is called a marketing consulting fee agreement. Okay, so that's the contract that you're going to use. Now, if you decide that you're going to execute a contract, because now you're going to be a bit more sophisticated, directly with the private seller who has this good deal, then you're going to want to execute this contract as we discussed earlier on in the lessons. And you're going to put down a $100 deposit. Now, here's what it gets good. If you're going to then later assign the contract, assign, and this is what an assignment of contract looks like. You're going to assign your rights in this property to this guy, with the buyer who's going to buy the property from you. So let's say that you buy this property for $50,000. You're going to execute this contract with the private seller, and then you're going to later assign this contract to the cash buyer. That means that whoever buys this property from you, who buys your rights to this property, using assigning your rights to this guy, he's going to pay you a $10,000 assignment of contract fee. So this is what people are discussing when they say you can get started with no cash or credit. You execute a contract using $100 deposit. Let's say you bought it for $50,000, and you assign your rights to this contract to buy this property to this guy who is a cash buyer, who's then going to pay you an assignment of contract fee. Now, I want you to pay close attention to one more thing. If you have a $100 deposit, just in case this guy who you assigned the contract to does not close on the deal, I want you to still be able to make money. Therefore, we're going to make him pay us a $2,000 deposit. That means if he doesn't close on this deal, allowing us to make $10,000, that if we put a deposit of $100 down and we accepted $2,000 deposit, we still made a $1,900 profit. Okay, so let me repeat that. We enter into a contract to buy the property for, let's say, $50,000. I don't have any numbers there. We provided a $100 deposit to the private seller. We execute this contract. The seller signs it. We sign it. And then we assign our rights to this property to this guy. And we're going to execute an assignment of contract agreement for $2,000 deposit. Just in case he doesn't close on the deal, we still made some money. And a $10,000 assignment of contract fee. Do it now.
Lesson number 8, how to do a back-to-back closing.
Congratulations on successfully completing lesson number 7. Let's move on to lesson number 8. First, we're going to go over the buying process just to recap on what we've learned so far. If you just find a house and you're looking to just collect a marketing consulting fee as a bird dog, you're going to execute this agreement with the cash buyer. Let's say you find a house, 123 Jackson Street. You want the guy to pay you $1,000 fee. He's going to pay you the $1,000 fee upon him successfully closing this deal. You're going to sign this market fee agreement. He's going to sign it, and you're going to make sure this agreement is going to make sure you get paid. If you're more sophisticated, you're going to execute a buy contract directly with the private seller, and this takes a little bit more education, but the private seller is going to sell you their property. You're going to execute this agreement with the seller, and let's say you're buying it for $50,000, and you're going to provide
$1 or $100 deposit. Now, typically, if you're buying a property from a realtor, they're going to want you to provide at least a $500 to $1,000 deposit. But with private sellers, $1 is all it takes to legally type a property, and I typically put $100. Okay? If you're going to then assign the rights to this deal to a cash buyer, you would then execute what is referred to as an assignment of contract. Now, you've collected a $100 deposit. When you assign this contract to your cash buyer, you're going to make sure that they provide you with a $2,000 deposit. Therefore, if this contract doesn't close, you've at least made $1,900 profit. And let's say in this case, your assignment of contract fee is $10,000. Now, if your assignment of contract fee is more than $10,000, because typically, there's some people when you go to the closing table, they find out you're making, too much money, more than $10,000, they may frown upon that. They may say, well, I'm buying the property, you're making $10,000. That's a bit stiff. Would you renegotiate? So in order to avoid that, what you can do is a back-to-back closing. Therefore, the person who you're selling the property to will not even know that how much you assigned the contract for. So let's say you bought this property for $50,000 with a $100 deposit. If you're going to do a back-to-back closing, in some cases may be considered simultaneous closing, what you're going to do is you're going to enter into a separate sales contract with the cash buyer. So let's say that you bought the property for $50,000. Let's say you sell it to this guy for $60,000, and you're going to have him provide you with a $2,000 deposit. So this is the process of from buying the property directly from the private seller, or just collect a marketing fee, assign a contract, or in some cases, if you're making more than $10,000, go ahead and enter into a new contract so that you can sell this property to the cash buyer. Now, you're going to have two sets of closing costs whenever you do that. You're going to have the closing costs from on the buy contract when you buy the property, and you're going to have the closing costs when you sell the property. And it's just two sets of different closing costs because you are now doing back-to-back closing as opposed to just assigning the contract. But this could be a good way so that you can make more money. So let's say that you bought this property for $50,000 and you did a contract to sell the property for $70,000. You're making $20,000. Now, if you was making $20,000 assigning the contract, maybe the cash buyer is going to be upset and say, hey, I don't want to pay you $20,000. But again, if you do a back-to-back closing, you enter into a contract with the private seller, you enter into a contract with the cash buyer, he will not even know how much money you made at the closing table. Do it now.
Lesson number 9, closing the deal.
Congratulations on successfully completing lesson number 8. Now we're going to move on to lesson number 9. Now that you've been able to successfully identify distressed neighborhoods and distressed homes, you've been able to successfully go out and research to find out who owns those properties. You've also been successful at doing the analytics, contracting to buy, or doing a market fee agreement. You've been successful at going out there and finding cash buyers. You've also been successful at learning how to do back-to-back closings. Now it's time to attend the closing table to get paid. Now this is what is called a HUD-1 statement or a settlement statement. You're going to need to be able to look this over to make sure that you're getting paid at the closing table. If you're assigning a contract, you should have an assignment of contract fee on this particular document. Now that you've gotten to this point, you're going to request either a wire or cashier's check. Do it now.